Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar, Audience Targeting Advanced Programmatic Tactic that Click. My name is Lara Lima, and I'm part of the marketing team here at StackAdapt. With that, I would like to hand it over to the presenters to get us started. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Lara. I would like to actually start by welcoming everyone on the call today to our audience targeting webinar. We will be talking about advanced programmatic tactics that actually work for your campaigns. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our co-host, Carly Foy, Director of Sales at StackAdapt, and an incredibly seasoned programmatic leader. And myself, I'm Sakanya. I head the Client Success Division here at StackAdapt, which involves all of our SMB clientele. For those who are new here or haven't heard of us before, we wanted to start by giving you all an overview of who we are. StackAdapt is a self-serve programmatic advertising platform, also known as a DSP or a demand-side platform. We're used by exceptional digital marketers like all of you on the call today because of the cutting-edge technology our platform offers. And I say this with no bias at all, that some of the most progressive work in machine learning, AI, and building seamless user experiences is happening here at StackAdapt. We offer ad buyers a solution that allows them to plan, execute, analyze, and manage all of their digital campaigns across devices, inventories, and publisher partners. Moving on to the agenda for today, we will be talking about programmatic audience targeting and the solutions we offer at StackAdapt. We will also be touching on cookieless targeting strategies and solutions you can leverage to make the most use of your first-party data. We will also be talking about the future of audience targeting, adapting a multi-channel approach, and how you can level up your targeting strategy. Lastly, we will dive into measuring the success of your campaigns and evaluating your tactics. We will then get into Q&As where Carly and I will answer any questions that you may have. All right, let's get into it. Starting off, this is actually one of my favorite slides, mainly because in the last 2 years that I have been at StackAdapt, this list has kept growing, so it's nostalgic, but it's also very impressive how far programmatic has come. There are a multitude of ways in which you can target your audience and build strategies using programmatic. We're going to get into first-party data targeting in depth later on, but we love mentioning this given how crucial this can be as a part of your targeting strategy as we look into a cookieless environment. There are third-party audiences, browsing audiences that you can target based on their location, IP addresses, etc. You can also use programmatic advertising to actually create lookalike audiences and custom segments that can be a key driver in your targeting strategy. PCI audiences or page context AI is StackAdapt's patented technology that allows you to contextually target audiences by pushing ads to users based on the context of the content that they are browsing. Programmatic targeting uses data obtained from the audience and eliminates any guesswork to ensure that your ads are being serviced to the right audiences and allows you to make the most of your digital ad spend. You can also tap into certain characteristics and qualities that you're looking for in your audience. Programmatic digital display ad spends are predicted to actually grow 3 times faster than non-programmatic ad spends in 2024. And given the change of the digital landscape, this doesn't really come as a surprise to any one of us. StackAdapt has an impressive catalog of ways in which you can target your audiences using ABM targeting, weather targeting, impression and click retargeting, digital out of home, and the list goes on. Let's talk a little bit about custom segments. Custom segments or custom audiences at StackAdapt can be tailored to find hyper-relevant users for your brands across 120,000 websites. Fair warning, you're going to be hearing a lot of hyper-relevant and hyper-targeted words used plenty of times today, but that's the best part of programmatic, eliminating the guesswork and giving you the control to rely on data to be able to leverage the most relevant audiences for your campaigns. These audiences give you an opportunity to target very specific users based on their characteristics, locations, or browsing habits. Custom segments also allow you to target users who are reading about a particular topic or a competitor on the web. or even target users associated with very specific IP addresses, mobile devices, or even based on their internet service provider. Depends on what kind of product you're selling and where your audience lies. You can use one or more of these tactics to drive audience engagements, and you also have the option to combine these audiences and target the newly built custom segment that is formed through this intersection, or a combination of these different segments allowing you to expand scale. Combination audiences allow you to create a very specific audience segment that is hyper relevant to your brand. Let's say you own a retail shoe company, and I'm going to reference this example throughout the webinar today. You can use these custom segments to target everyone that is reading about latest shoe trends and has been within a certain radius of your store in the last 7 days. This allows you to create a custom segment that is interested in your product and is geographically close to your store to drive them to making a purchase. Now imagine you're trying to build your upper funnel pipeline and only want to target an audience that has been reading about shoe trends. You would tap into a browsing audience creation, or if you only wanted to target someone based on their proximity to your store or their presence within that radius, you would use a geo-targeted audience. Combining these two individual segments gives you a combined audience that blends the two characteristics that you may be looking for. Another great way of using custom segments is by targeting contacts on your CRM lists. StackAdapt's integration with LiveRamp allows you to upload your CRM list into your StackAdapt platform and target your first-party audience effectively. Targeting first-party audience is also a great way to ensure conversions and that you're leveraging your first-party data. Let's talk a bit about browsing audiences. Browsing audiences, as the name suggests, are audiences you can target based on their browsing behaviors. This targeting tactic allows you to target users based on the content that they are engaging with on the web, the relevance of it, and their interest in certain specific topics. Let's say you're running a holiday campaign and you have this example on the screen in front of you, and you want to push your product to all those who are reading about holiday gifting ideas. Browsing audience is a great way to build this strategy. StackAdapt's machine learning algorithm will help develop an audience that consists of users who have shown the most interest in these areas. A good example of this is right here. Once you input your in-context phrases to build the audiences, StackAdapt's platform will show you a sample of phrases related to the topics that the audience is reading about. You can always add phrases to either being in context or out of context, depending on whether you'd like to include additional keywords or exclude certain phrases to show up in the word bubble. The word bubble is the relevant contextual phrases column that I'm referring to. If they don't make sense to your targeting needs, you should by all means go ahead and eliminate them and allow yourself to create a browsing audience that is hyper relevant and consuming content that is in line with your targeting tactics. Another really cool feature is being able to decide on the audience size as well. Our platform gives you an opportunity to use the slider that you can see to decide if you would like to target a lesser but more interested audience, or if you would like to target a larger audience group that may be slightly less interested. A good way to decide on where you should land on the slider depends on whether you're looking to build your top of the funnel pipeline or your mid and bottom of the funnel pipeline. If you are driving high engagement and are looking to build a top of the funnel approach, I would recommend going for a larger but slightly less interested audience, just because it gives you that added level of scale that you'd like. However, if you're building a mid to a lower funnel pipeline, it's best to have an audience that's more interested, but maybe slightly smaller in size and is more likely to convert. The control of building the in-context and out-of-context phrases lies completely with you. Where you decide what phrases or keywords make the most sense for your campaigns, and our machine learning algorithm will ensure that it creates the right audience for you. Browsing audiences have proven to be as effective for B2B clients as they have been for B2C clients. Moving on, we'd like to touch upon impression retargeting. I like to think of impression retargeting as more of a strategy than as an audience targeting tactic. This is also extremely relevant for those looking to build a full funnel integrated marketing approach for their target audience. Now, why am I saying that? How often have we thought that our programmatic efforts are disconnected from our social media marketing efforts? Plenty of times. I know Carly is going to agree with me when I say that we've had several clients worried about their social media strategy feeling completely disconnected from the one they're running on programmatic. If you want to make the most of your social media and programmatic campaigns, this is something that you'll find useful. A good way to scale your social media audiences using StackAdapt's impression retargeting is by creating a programmatic retargeting pool within the social walled gardens like Facebook, X, Instagram, etc., by placing a social pixel in the StackAdapt impression tracker, allowing you to tap into programmatic scale within the social walled gardens, which means that you can retarget audiences who have viewed your programmatic ads on the open internet and get in front of them on social media once again, thus allowing you to create a healthy marketing mix or a multi-channel approach for your marketing campaigns. Let's tap into our earlier example and imagine you're leading the marketing efforts of a retail shoe brand. You have campaigns running on programmatic and are in this case targeting users from third-party data providers where you cannot tap into this audience base on social media. You can target these users on social walled gardens as well by creating a social campaign and placing the pixel from that social campaign into StackAdapt's impression tracker, ensuring that you create a multi-channel targeting approach for this audience base. I know it sounds complex. It's really not. I promise you, it's very simple, but it's also a very cohesive way of ensuring you are creating a full channel approach. Alternatively, if you prefer to retain all your targeting measures within the StackAdapt realm, you can always tap into impression retargeting by placing a StackAdapt retargeting audience pixel within your impression tracker to build an audience comprising of users who have already seen your ads. Retarget these users with personalized creatives and more contextual ads and relevant communication, pushing them from the top of the funnel to the mid or bottom of your funnel, and then finally towards conversion. Effectively retargeting your users keeps you on top of their minds, and pushing relevant and customized communication encourages them to get converted into being buyers. There's several ways to re-engage with users who have interacted with your brand but haven't converted yet. Let's spend some time talking about different ways in which you can retarget your audience at StackAdapt. The first one is site retargeting. As the name suggests, this strategy allows you to retarget users who have visited or interacted with your website or any page within your website. You can do this by placing a pixel on the website or any of the landing pages to create a pool of users who engage with or visit your site. Retargeting audiences based on their site visits is a great way to build your lower funnel pipeline. We've seen great performance from retargeting these audiences, and it's also a best practice to get these audiences generated sooner rather than later, since they're high value audiences and you do not want to miss on the opportunity of targeting them. I would also like to call out the StackAdapt Universal Pixel while we're chatting about site retargeting. StackAdapt Universal Pixel is a one-stop shop solution where you place the pixel within the header of the website and define URL-based rules to retarget visitors from any page you'd like. This is so much better than having to build separate pixels for each of the pages and then placing them on each of those pages. Now, the obvious question is, while site retargeting allows you to retarget users who have visited our website, what if we wanted to retarget users who have engaged with our websites and clicked our products and added them to their carts? How do we do that? Engagement retargeting is a great solution that allows you to deliver retargeted messaging based on a series of indicated actions on a website or a landing page. This is also a great way to build hyper-targeted audiences based on their interactions and engagement on your website. For example, you're a B2C client. This strategy allows you to retarget users who have added an item to the cart by clicking the Add to Cart button on your website, or they have added a product to their wish list. You can target them with communication like, "You have great taste. We noticed that you added this product to the cart. here's 5% off, or here's free shipping to essentially get them to move across to the bottom of the funnel and eventually convert. Now, if you're a B2B client, engagement retargeting could work by retargeting audiences who have downloaded resources on your website, registered for an event, etc. While we are on the topic of retargeting, I wanted to also bring up dynamic retargeting. Dynamic retargeting, or DRT, is an innovative offering that allows an advertiser to serve an ad populated with elements from the web page of the user last visited. Retargeting is reaching people who have already seen your ad, engaged with your brand, or visited your website. Dynamic retargeting takes this a step further by reaching previous visitors with a specific product that they are interested in. This creates ads that are more relevant to your audiences, thus increasing the performance of your campaigns. If you are interested in tapping into DRT campaigns, the Creative Studio team at StackAdapt can help make your dynamic display retargeting ads drastically stand out from competition. My favorite feature at StackAdapt is that we offer all retargeting campaigns or pixel to exclude recent purchasers from being targeted with these ads. This ensures that our ads are not being served to those who have already successfully converted. I mean, we don't like being spammed once we've already made the purchase and we keep getting the ads to go ahead and make the purchase. That exclusion pixel allows you to do that. StackAdapt offers a true omni-channel experience, allowing you to re-engage with users who have previously watched your video ads. You can follow your viewers and listeners across channels through the creation of touch points using native, display, and video ads, which brings me to listen and view retargeting. Listener view retargeting allows you to retarget audiences who have listened to your audio ads or watched your video or CTV ads based on quartile completions. That is, you can retarget users based on their listen or view completions of your ads at 25, 50, 75, or 100%. Impression retargeting and listener view retargeting thus allows you to enable sequential messaging. That essentially means showing a series of ads to potential customers that connect up to tell a continual story or a message. For example, if you were selling a product like a shoe from my previous example, you could create an initial ad that focuses on telling people about your brand. Then follow it up with another ad which addresses the customer pain point that your product solves for. Or another scenario for sequential messaging could be if someone has served an ad on their mobile phone in the morning and they see a CTV sequential messaging ad on their way to work, followed by an audio ad in the evening. A study showed that successful marketers are 35 times more likely to use omni-channel strategy because it provides brand recall value and builds visibility and consistency for your product or brand. Both these tactics help drive lower funnel engagements by retargeting your lower funnel pipeline and delivering contextually relevant ads and communication to them. You can also retarget users through display ads by driving them to your website. Last but not the least, and one of the most effective retargeting strategies is click retargeting. Click retargeting retargets audiences who have clicked on your ad and gives you an opportunity to re-engage with another message and a strong call to action. Think of the shoe retail company example again. Imagine as a marketing lead, you ran display ads for your shoe collection and saw a lot of users click into your ad but not purchase from your e-commerce store. Very common problem, right? You know that these users are interested in your collection, but they haven't purchased it yet. A good way to retarget them would be through click retargeting and pushing another message with a call to action that drives them to make a purchase. It could be a coupon code, a small discount, or free shipping. This tactic allows you to build your top and middle funnel pipelines by pushing them to the bottom of your funnel and thus encouraging conversions. Next on our agenda is cookieless targeting. I think this topic is something that is on the minds of most marketers today. As we move into a more cookieless future, it is imperative to design strategies that allow us to target and reach out to audiences that are more relevant to our marketing efforts. A great way of doing this is by leveraging your first-party data. First-party data at StackAdapt is powered by the likes of LiveRamp, HubSpot, and Snowflake. Building and utilizing your existing first-party data allows you to action effective acquisition-based strategies by identifying new customers based on signals gathered from your existing best customers. Imagine being able to clone your existing customer and create multiples of them. You can achieve this by building lookalike audiences using your first-party data and leveraging them to build scale towards the next set of your potential customers. Another valuable usage of first-party data is through loyalty, retention, and upsell strategies. This allows you to build customer loyalty by suggesting supplementary products to increase sales and customer satisfaction. You can further this strategy by creating suppression lists to exclude those audiences that may not be the best fit for your campaign. Lastly, win-back strategies. These are a great tool to win back churned customers by leveraging promotions, discounts, and other value drivers that this audience base may be interested in. A great example of a churned customer is back to my shoe company example. If a customer clicks into your ad and abandons the cart at checkout after going through the entire process of finding something they like, put in the cart, and then they don't check out, pushing this customer with promotions and discounts is a great way to win them back. All of these unique strategies allow you to leverage your first-party data using StackAdapt's API integrations that enable you to connect your CRM platform to the StackAdapt platform and create dynamic audiences to then win your marketing game, even in a cookieless environment. Moving on to two more solutions you can tap into on the StackAdapt platform. They're a part of our cookieless targeting strategy as well. PCAI, or Page Context AI, is an exceptional tool and StackAdapt's patented technology that allows you to build contextual strategy by inputting in-context and out-of-context phrases to determine the best ad placements based on the site's content. Input your in-context and out-of-context phrases so that our patented algorithm can determine the best ad placements based on the publisher or site's content. We allow up to 20 in-context phrases and support real-time ad delivery based on these phrases. These ads are hyper-relevant to your content strategy. You can see the example on the screen here. The in-context phrases are sporting, sports, live scores. The ad reads through, the PCAI actually reads through this entire ad, finds out the context of the page, and delivers ads that are relevant to that context. Keyword rule targeting, on the other hand, is slightly different. While PCAI is looking at the context of the page and delivering ads with hyper-relevant placements, keyword rule targeting actually delivers ads based on the exact keywords you are looking to target. This targeting capability can be leveraged for native display and video advertising campaigns on desktop and mobile web. An interesting factor to note is that KRT and PCAI have shown performance that is at par with the performance of retargeting campaigns. A key differentiator between the two, however, is that for PCAI campaigns, our AI takes the lift of delivering ads by reading through the context of the site and the content. But for keyword rule targeting, you are in the driver's seat. You have complete control in terms of identifying and inputting the exact keywords that you would like to target. You can add up to 100 keywords that you want to target. The longer the list of keywords, the better the scale. For PCAI campaigns, you can only add up to 20 in-context phrases. Once you input these in-context phrases, you can review the sample of URLs by clicking through and ensuring that the right context is being set. We highly recommend refining with additional in-context phrases if you feel the need to do so. There are various use cases for which you may find PCAI to be extremely useful. When targeting is context specific, scale is crucial, and you want our AI to do the heavy lifting, you might want to consider PCAI. Here are my top 2 recommendations while using PCAI. The first one, broaden your audience by broadening contexts. If you are looking for scale, which PCAI will deliver on high-performing web pages, ensure that you use phrases that target a wider market. That means you target product categories versus specific product SKUs. For example, instead of resistance bands, input workout equipment. You can also lean on to the recommended phrases provided by the algorithm for additional phrase suggestions. Another tip is to think of the user's mindset. This is one of the best ways to achieve scale. It is crucial to identify the user's mindset while they are reading the articles that are relevant to the context that you set to ensure the ad resonates with them. For example, we have observed that travel to sunny destinations ads perform well on weather pages where bad weather is being reported. The second strategy is to target audiences based on their stage of life. Contextual ads are extremely effective for targeting audiences based on their stage of life. Many milestones in life, like starting university, getting married, or having a child, will correlate with the type of content a person is looking at online. Like I said, get into the user's mindset to identify what stage of life they are in and the content they may be consuming to push relevant ads. For example, back to my amazing shoe company example, as a marketer, I would consider pushing my kids' shoe collection to those reading up about fun activities to do with their kids over the weekend. The targeting strategies you can leverage using PCI are endless, so be sure to be creative. Moving on to weather targeting. Weather targeting is a great way to engage your customers during key weather changes with ads that drive action. This strategy allows you to automate your advertising based on local weather conditions and temperatures to boost your campaign relevance and performance. Weather targeting at StackAdapt allows you to show different ads based on the weather conditions in that geo that you're targeting. So to simply put it, if you have an advertiser with seasonal products available all year round, you could set up a year-long campaign promoting those products depending on the weather, and then you basically sit back and relax for the whole year. For example, in the case of the shoe company we were chatting about, they could run campaigns promoting winter boots all through the winter in the geos that they are targeting, which, I don't know, in the case of Northern Canada is the full 12-month cycle. Additionally, if you're promoting travel and looking to get an audience situated in a colder climate to visit a warmer, more southern destination, your ads could read, ditch the cold weather in Canada and visit California. But I promise you, winters in Canada are like 6 months for the most of us, so I think that's okay. StackAdapt's weather targeting also allows you to target both weather conditions, such as rain, thunderstorm, whether it's sunny, cloudy, windy, etc., and also target based on weather elements such as the air quality, the UV radiation index, humidity or precipitation in the air, or temperature range. I want to leave all of you with a tip to get the best results from your weather targeting campaigns. We strongly recommend targeting cities and not provinces or states. Keep in mind that you should target a smaller area since a larger area may have different weather conditions in different areas, thus affecting the relevance of your ad. I will now hand it over to Carly to talk more about the future of audience targeting and measuring the success of your campaigns and strategies. Over to you, Carly.
Thanks, Sukanya. So I think obviously one thing that's top of mind for us specifically as marketers is when we talk about the use of AI and machine learning, that is something that's continuously coming up as we move towards the future of audience targeting. So Sukanya, do you mind just quickly changing the slide there? So one thing that is not new to us, I think, is the term of machine learning to programmatic. This is something we've been using for the past 12 years, but as we look towards the cookieless future, we will need to rely on probabilistic targeting. I always say marketing is quite cyclical. If you remember about 10 to 12 years ago, we did rely a lot on contextual signals to be able to target our ads. It's the same now. We need to actually combine those contextual signals with other parameters to create a relevant audience. So in Sukanya's example, actually, it might be a great relevant audience to target with weather targeting on top of that. These contextual tools really are what we are going to be relying on as we continue to face the unknown in the cookieless future, but also maintaining some level of personalization that we are accustomed to by being relevant to the audience. We will also see this through dynamic creative optimization. So as AI continues to grow, as your campaign learns, ultimately our hopes is to see the creative optimized in real time, potentially even including other channels. This will allow us to focus truly on the digital strategy and maybe a little more or less on those creative levers that we need to pull. Unsurprisingly too, there is also a major focus on first-party data activation. Sukanya briefly touched on that there, but we can use these data signals to create a more holistic view of our customers. For instance, say you're a personal care brand, by leveraging previous purchase history, this would open up additional avenues to advertise to that user to replenish after a certain time frame. Really, at the end of the day, make sure that you're reviewing your data sources. So that's through purchases, site interactions, CRM, as well as your customer service interactions. And then you can turn it over to activation outside of advertising as well, loyalty members, corporate communications, as well as your overall customer experience. When we're talking about how we also interact daily with our media strategies, and we need to look at a multi-channel approach. I don't know about you, but I personally have a smart TV, a speaker, one phone, thankfully, 2 laptops, one for both personal and one for work. That's 5 opportunities alone to reach me before I even leave my house. So by leveraging a multi-channel approach, you can create a consistent and complementary customer experience from literally the moment they wake up till the moment they go to bed. So let's talk about leveling up your strategy and how we can leverage specific performance metrics. So ultimately, you want to dive into the data and analyze your key performance indicators. So that could be KPIs such as your click-through rate, conversion rate, or return on ad spend to gauge the effectiveness of each audience segment and strategy layer. Ultimately, you want to understand your audience overlap. You can use StackAdapt's audience insights to identify overlaps between your first-party data audiences, lookalike audiences, and third-party segments. This will ultimately help you refine your targeting to also avoid ad fatigue. You also need to assess the scale versus the relevance. So you need to strike a perfect balance. As we continue down the waterfall, funnel, hourglass, whatever you'd like to call it, from first-party data to lookalike to third-party data, we need to be able to understand how increased scale can impact the campaign relevance and performance. And then ultimately, I'm actually going to flip over, iterate, and optimize. When it comes to optimizing, you can use StackAdapt's platform to test different combinations of your audiences and overall strategies. And ultimately, again, it's all about refining your approach based on that real-time feedback and analytics that we are quite used to in the programmatic space. And then ultimately, that leads to a feedback loop. Leverage learnings to inform your future campaigns. So use those insights that you've gained from performance evaluation to refine, again, audience segmentation and targeting strategies. One thing I actually do like to recommend to our clients is take 70% of what you know from previous campaigns, implement that for your upcoming campaign, and 20% of your learnings. Sometimes learnings can be a little bit inaccurate. I think sometimes for things like topics API, we get classified into wrong things. My work computer personally thinks I work in construction because of a lot of my B2B clients. That is not accurate to who I am. But testing out that 20% when it comes to those audience targetings or other contextual segments, and then 10% of testing out a new channel or some new strategy that might be newer to the space. So always think in a 70-20-10 model. When it comes to your data, it's super, super critical that we are taking a look on how we can really refine the funnel. So ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve here? Is this an awareness, consideration, intent, or conversion focused campaign? So in the awareness stage of the funnel, the campaign objective is to reach as many people as possible and introduce prospects to your brand or product. Some data types to look at to consider supplementing your first-party data is an audience lookalike expansion, third-party audience, typically with a higher scale, as well as StackAdapt custom segments. The audience lookalike expansion will help you find net new users who are most similar to your desired first-party audience and introduce them to your funnel, while also using third-party and custom audience segments with affinity, lifestyle, and demographics profiles that will help you cast a wide enough net while staying within your desired consumer profile. When it comes to the consideration stage of the funnel, your prospect ideally has been introduced to your brand, and the objective of your campaign is to engage and persuade them to consider your product offering. So the recommended data types that we see is first-party retargeting, more granular third-party audience segments, and StackAdapt custom segments. Ideally, in this stage, we are also retargeting users who have visited your website in the past as they have once expressed interest in your brand. Look for a more granular third-party audience and create those StackAdapt custom segments of users who have life stage and event profiles or similar purchase histories. This ultimately will help you find users who are likely to consider your brand. In the intent stage of the funnel, the goal is really to bring those qualified leads to the last conversion stage. So these are users who have typically shown intent with your first-party retargeting audiences who have engaged with your website, as well as your third-party precision audiences. So these are users categorized as in-market and intent users, and users who have purchased from similar products in the past. And then ultimately the last stage of the funnel, which we all love, is the conversion stage. So again, that objective is to garner those qualified leads and have them perform a predefined action on your website, ultimately leading in a generation of sales. Users need constant reminders, therefore it's important to include users in your first-party retargeting pool and those users from those precision segments we talked about as in-market and intent profiles. So when we talk about leveraging the waterfall method, it's ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is to seamlessly integrate these strategies in an approach within StackAdapt. Start narrow and precise, gradually expanding your reach while continuously monitoring and adjusting for performance. First-party data is absolutely critical here. If you have it, please use it. Use StackAdapt to analyze your existing customer base and identify those key characteristics and behaviors that define your most valuable users. Incorporate page context AI to ensure that your ads are shown in the most relevant content, enhancing the user engagement. Use this in contextual alignment as a second layer to refine your targeting. Create lookalikes based off of your high-performing segments. We have sophisticated algorithms to help you find new users who share similar traits with your best customers, and that will effectively broaden your reach without sacrificing your relevance. And ultimately, scale smartly. So integrate carefully selected third-party data to extend your campaign's reach further. So that might mean reaching out to a third-party publisher and being able to create a custom audience segment based off the desired user profile that you have. Or you can pre-select, choose segments that have been pre-selected that align with your brand and campaign goals, ultimately ensuring that every addition that you're including in your strategy adds value to the end of the day. All right, so one thing that we always recommend is start with behavioral-based targeting on real-time interactions. So yeah, behavioral targeting based on real-time interactions. So immediate data from the user interactions across websites, apps, and digital platforms to tailor messaging and offerings. This can include actions like items viewed, time spent on specific content, as well as your interaction patterns. Predictive analytics for future behaviors. Leverage AI, machine learning to predict future customer behaviors based on your historical data. This would be looking at past purchase history, engagement patterns, as well as other behaviors to anticipate their needs and preferences. We can also look again at dynamic content personalization. So that's automatically customizing content with your ads, even outside of the programmatic landscape, emails, or on websites in real time based on the user's current context, past interactions, and predicted preferences. This can result in dynamically changing images, messages, or product recommendations, which actually ties back to the dynamic creative optimizations as well. Personalized retargeting campaigns, creating retargeting campaigns that are highly specific to the user's previous interactions, showing ads for a product that they viewed or didn't purchase, or offering personalized discounts based on their browsing history. I'm definitely guilty of being hit several times with a 10% offer as soon as I leave a site without converting, so definitely gets me to convert every time. Also using AI-driven segments to drive micro-targeting. So we can use the AI tools that we have to create micro segments within your larger audience groups. This allows us to create incredibly nuanced targeting. These segments can be a combination of demographic, psychographic, as well as your behavioral data points. Cross-device personalization allows us to extend seamlessly across all devices a user might employ. As I mentioned, I have 5 alone before even leaving my house, and maintaining continuity and personalized experience regardless of the device that's used. So pulling back on the parameters that you can use to target, you can create a hybrid approach to create ad relevance. For instance, this is actually a very relevant example for myself. Think of an ad for Aperol Spritz that is designed to serve between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Fridays when the weather hits 77 degrees Fahrenheit. I can assure you if I saw that, I would be shutting down my laptop the moment I could and be hitting up a local patio. So now we're going to talk about measuring the success of your tactics. So one thing that we do want to highlight is the full picture of attribution when it comes to our first-party data attribution measurement solutions. So you can easily tie back your campaign spend to both offline and online conversions, and that can be measured with or without a pixel as long as the action is stored in your data management system or platform. So we can do this through testing and optimization, so we can segment by audience, creative, or channel to gain an understanding of which strategy is ultimately driving your conversions. For example, try creating a lookalike segment off of users who have converted in the past, and then use our attribution solution to check the performance. build off of StackAdapt's in-house identity graph in your own CRM data. So StackAdapt does have a first-party data attribution solution that is not built off of cookies. Instead, it's your CRM data that is tied to our in-house identity graph via LiveRamp's Ramp ID. This data, by the way, is all hashed directly from your browser and sent to LiveRamp. We never see it or touch any PII data. And then in turn, we have robust in-platform reporting. So we are able to then report by demographic, channel, device, and frequency to help you understand which of your target audience is most likely to convert. And then going into the last measurement solutions that we also offer here is foot traffic measurement. So think of your visit, average cost per visit, basically points of interest that you can map out. That is powered by AdSquare as well as LifeSite. And then we also offer our own in-house brand lift solution. So that is really great to measure brand awareness, ad recall, and tying it back to Sakanya, we can actually retarget off of their answers as well, which is always super fun. So those are our reporting solutions that are outside of your typical programmatic reports that you can have. So going into our wrap up, just to summarize our entire conversation just now, the past 40 minutes, really at the end of the day, we're asking you to embrace the future of targeting. I think we're all in this weird stage right now where 1% of Chrome's cookies have gone away, which has affected 30 million users. The good news is it's 30 million users globally, so obviously it is dispersed out. But we do need to start testing out our targeting solutions and making sure that when that moment comes, whether that's this year or next, as it continues to be kicked down the pipe, we have a future of targeting, we have a targeting established to be able to make sure that we are future-proofing our strategies. If you have first-party data, please try to activate it and figure out what's going to work for you, whether that's through building lookalike or testing out even the first-party data attribution to understand more of your users. This is something that I highly would recommend. And then ultimately, and I mean, one of my old favorites back when I started off in the programmatic space is advancing with contextual targeting. It has come a long way in the past 10 years. So that is something that I'm personally excited about, especially with tools such as Page Context AI that uses a natural language processing algorithm to really enhance and make sure that it is finding those like users that you want to target. And then I think we can flip it over back to Laura for our Q&A.
Wonderful. That was really, really insightful. Thank you so much, Carly and Sukanya. So I would now like to jump into the Q&A portion of the webinar and open up the floor to any questions that you might have. So if you have any questions, this is the time, everybody. And as a reminder, please place them in the questions box of the GoToWebinar panel. I can see that are a few questions that came through during the webinar, so I'll get started with those. But if we don't have time to get to your questions today, not to worry, we'll follow up directly with you after the webinar. So first question, how can we implement hyper-targeted campaigns in niche markets without relying on third-party cookies?
I can actually take this one. We touched upon this briefly during the webinar as well. There are actually several ways to implement hyper-targeted and hyper-relevant audiences without having to rely on third-party cookies. StackAdapt's in-platform measurement and targeting solutions like StackAdapt ABM targeting, measurement, footfall attribution, brand lift, first-party data attribution, all of them are actually worth exploring. You can also tap into StackAdapt's contextual targeting, which is, I know we spoke about PCAI, we spoke about browsing audience and keyword rule targeting. They're all great cookie-less solutions to actually implement. Another great alternative is also utilizing our first-party data integrations to leverage first-party data and CRM lists that you have within the StackAdapt's ecosystem. Our goal is to actually make it easy for our clients to use any alternative ID solution if that's also required.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sukanya. Let's go to the next question. How does StackAdapt attribute conversion across different touch points for multi-channel campaigns? That's a good one.
Also a great question. Users often use multiple devices to browse, research, and then make purchase. Like Carly, for example, has 5 devices. So who are we kidding? Most of these are beyond the reach of how traditional cookies would retarget these customers. There are also hundreds of apps that get launched every day, which is also beyond the reach of traditional cookie and the realm that they have. Normal cookie-based conversion tracking cannot solve for a lot of the common user actions. So for example, if I'm browsing something on incognito mode and then I go and make a purchase elsewhere, or I'm browsing something today and then I go into a different browser to finally convert and make a purchase, traditional cookie can't target any of these actions. However, at StackAdapt, we have a cross-device conversion tracking that actually solves for all of these problems. We have two attribution models. There's a multi-touch attribution model, which essentially, like the name suggests, this model accounts for all ad exposures by assigning credit to each of the encounters throughout the conversion journey. This provides a more holistic approach and helps show the importance of each of the exposure before you see, but you might see actually a difference between the campaign conversion counts and the actual conversions that take place because of the multi-touch attribution. The second approach is actually a last touch attribution. With last touch, all the credit of conversions is assigned to a single media touchpoint, which is typically the last ad the user encounters before purchase. Last touch is what is preferred by most of our clients because it's easier to track. The only issue is that it doesn't take into account the full customer journey if that's what you're looking for. And it can also decrease the perceived impact of the upper funnel tactics. Multi-touch can actually attribute some of these to the top of the funnel tactics that you have. Across your campaigns at StackAdapt, multi-touch is what we set as a default setting. If you want to track last touch attribution models, you may want to go into your settings page and then switch that from the dropdown.
Wonderful, great answer. Next question, can we use PCAI targeting for first-party data audiences?
No, if we layer PCAI with first-party data audiences, it's going to affect the scale drastically. PCAI should be used always as a standalone tactic and not layer that with your first party.
All right. Next question then. Can you share more on how to use a social pixel in StackAdapt for social retargeting? Is there a resource sheet you can share on how to set it up between Meta?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually use an image-based pixel from the social media platform. So in this case, it would be from Meta. It is supported on our end, and essentially that is hosted in the impression tracker of the StackAdapt ad. Then essentially when you go into Meta, you would need to create a custom event that focuses on people who have reached the StackAdapt ads. So we would essentially just say name it as somebody who has viewed those StackAdapt ads as a custom event. It is something that we can follow up with a one-pager on how to do that. So happy to help out there.
Wonderful. And I think we have one last question. Let me take a look here. Explain how to retarget viewers on social ads.
Yeah, I think that one ties in right there. So it is all based on post view versus post click, essentially because we would then have to do a click directory URL, which then case the social media sites would actually prevent that from happening. So it is for view only events, but it would be created as an event within the ecosystem, and anybody who has viewed the ad essentially from there.
Amazing. So that concludes today's webinar. Thank you again so much, Carly and Sukanya. Thanks again, everyone, for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.